Hey, I just want to share with you an awesome opportunity to travel to Turkey and Greece in a course that's offered in grad theology every year. It's called Seminar of the New Testament, Turkey and Greece. We just returned from this only weeks ago, and it was amazing. We went to Turkey for 6 days and Greece for 3 days. We traveled, we got to see 6 of the 7 cities referenced in the book of Revelations. Absolutely life-changing. I'm going to encourage you to be a part of this. You get to travel with Professors Mansfield and Grizzle, who are rock stars. We had an amazing time, so listen up for more information. We're going to be sharing just a little bit about what we got to see, feel, hear, taste, experience.
Hello, my name is BJ Barrick, and I also went on the trip to Greece and Turkey with Dr. Mansfield and Dr. Grizzle. One of the most amazing sights that I saw, and it has a lasting impact on my life, was Ephesus. Ephesus is in Turkey, and to walk on the streets, the same streets that Paul walked on, truly changed my life. I think the most amazing sight in Ephesus was the theater. This is the theater where a riot breaks out because Paul is making such a difference with the message of Jesus Christ, that all the silversmiths come together because their economy is being hurt. And they're building all of these shrines to the goddess Artemis, but Paul is teaching a message that's saying there is no God but Jesus, and so these silversmiths all come together and they riot and they say, "Great is Artemis of the Ephesians," and I truly believe that if it weren't for the hand of God and through the local officials, that Paul's life would have been in jeopardy that day, and ultimately it's this riot that causes Paul to move on to his next location on his journey. But to be there and to feel the threats and the insults that are being hurled at Paul in that site and in that location, it truly changed my life. I think if there's one thing that I took from Ephesus, it's that Paul had such boldness and courage and passion for Jesus. He was definitely not ashamed of the gospel. And it serves as an example for us to live the same kind of life. This trip has given me such a great respect for the life of Paul and also the early church who literally gave up everything for Jesus Christ. And that's the kind of life I want to live. I encourage you, by all means, if at all possible, to go on this trip. It will change your life. It will change the way you read the scriptures. It will change your perspective of your faith. I encourage you, go on this trip. It'll definitely be worth every penny of it and more. God bless you.
Hi, my name is Chris Alfred, and I also went on the trip to Turkey and Greece, and I just wanted to share with you just a brief minute about what this trip meant to me personally and in my spiritual life. I can remember as we were traveling and we were seeing all the sights, all the places that Paul went, I could think to myself, there was such an urgency about the way in which Paul went from place to place. It wasn't something like he decided to go and witness to one place and then take a break for two weeks and then hit the road again. It was constant. It was urgent. There was something about his mission that was greater than him, and that mission dictated everything that he did in his life. And as I was reflecting on this, I began to remember and to think that the mission is still ongoing. The mission for us, for me, for my personal life, it hasn't stopped. There are still millions of people in this world who have never heard the gospel of Christ. But yet we don't seem to have the same urgency, or I don't in my personal life, to do what Paul did or to do the mission that God has called me to with that same kind of urgency. So I'm convinced that the Lord, as I was over there, gave me a stronger conviction to do everything that He's called me to do in my life. That if that doesn't get done, then there will be something that I will be accountable to, that I will have to give an accountable word to the Lord for why I didn't fulfill His word. Because the last thing that I would want in my life is to die and to go on to heaven and then find out that mission was more urgent than I thought it was. So I'm so grateful for this trip. for the revelations that the Lord was able to show me just as I was there, just looking at the sights and being in the place where Paul was. I'm so grateful for this trip because not only was it educational, not only was it academic, but it also ministered to my spirit, and the Lord gave me something about His mission for my life that I wouldn't have received unless I had gone and unless I had seen. So if you can, if there's any way possible that you can make this trip happen, I urge you that it will bless you and it will be a great benefit to your personal life, your spiritual life, as well as your academic life.
But you're in this place. Please let me stay and rest in your holiness. Word of God, speak. Would you pour down like rain, washing my eyes to see your majesty, to be still and know that you're in this place. Please let me stay and rest in your holiness. I'm finding myself at a loss for words, and the funny thing is, it's okay.
And I also went on the trip to Turkey and Greece with Dr. Mansfield and Dr. Grizzle. And as everyone else, I had a wonderful time. I want to talk briefly about the incidentals, which don't seem as important, but when you're there, it really becomes important. And that would be where we stayed for the hotels and where we ate. The hotels were great. We moved from hotel to hotel to hotel. So just knowing that we were going to another place that was going to take care of our needs, that was going to be warm, that was going to be inviting, and that was going to be particular to that area. It was really a really interesting part of the experience. It totally added to the fun part. There was where we could socialize together whenever we went to go eat. The places that our tour guides would take us, and the meals that were prepared for us at the hotels, they were fabulous, and that's just an added perk for the trip. Some of the fellow students that went on the trip have already talked about the sites that we went to, and I would like to just briefly talk about one site and use it as a springboard into something that was really interesting and that helped to shape my perspective on the Bible, and that actually helped me in my academic context. And that's when we went to Laodicea. Firstly, the work that the government in Turkey is doing to unearth and to restore is amazing. And we actually were some of the first people to get to see the Laodicean church that was in the midst of being uncovered. So that was an amazing experience. And what was really cool is that we got to see why in Revelation John talks about the hot water, the cold water, and the lukewarm, and how God will spit the lukewarm out of His mouth, and as a warning to the Laodicean church, and of course to us in present day. And actually looking at the location of Laodicea in relation to Hierapolis, where they have hot springs, and in relation to Corinth, where they have cold water from the sea, and seeing right where they were, and actually the pipes, the pottery, cooling the water down and calcifying the water. It was amazing to see that God was able to pick and choose something from within their context that they could understand and that they could relate to, and use that as an avenue to bring revelation and to bring a warning. And that has definitely altered the way I now understand the Bible within its own context. And